Hi, folks. Welcome to the Leeds View podcast. We do these normally on a Tuesday and a Thursday, although we're doing it Monday this week because of the game tomorrow night. We also do daily Leeds United news, and it's available on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and podcasts, as well as on YouTube. If you're listening on the audios, you can give us a channel follow and a rating. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to help support the channel. There's also a St. Patrick's Day collection being launched by Fanatics in association with Leeds United. You can check out the link to that down below. Happy Paddy's Day, by the way. And delighted to be joined by Paul Brooker and by Gerry McNamee to talk through the week that has been Leeds so far. We've got Manchester City to talk about, Daniel Farke's press conference ahead of Sunderland, as well as potentially, depending on time, but Pride Morate stepping down off of the Rangers board, the multi-club model stuff, as well as Julian Nagelsmann's comments on Anton Stack that don't really stack up. We'll get into all of that stuff as we go through whatever, wasn't I? Enjoyed that. Yeah. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm very, very well, thank you. Much better after the weekend. Turns out that the Man City game, as Gerry predicted, was a free hit in the end. So it's worked out very, very well. We've gotten through that grouping of games in a stronger position from a goal difference point of view, from an additional point of view, just everything much better. So that's led me to be reasonably cheerful. Roll on Tuesday.
Reasons to be cheerful, part one. We'll see if part two is tomorrow night. Gerry, how are you doing?
Great, yeah. That was realised that bigger teams get decisions. I think Peter Banks, they're dramatising Paris 75. Peter Banks has got a starring role as the referee, although he's overqualified. I don't like criticising him. He was bloody dreadful. Yeah. Absolutely. It was the worst I've seen. Premier League, you think, yeah, the big clubs get the decisions. It was awful. But as we said, if we come out of here still 6 points clear, and we came out same Forest, everybody lost. Everything's the same. We've come out of these 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we're still the same. We're better off, as Paul says. Everything, and that you couldn't have wished for better than that. Now we go to the next phase, and you're starting to think it's getting close. One result goes one way, one goes the other way, which could happen this week. And we're getting there. We're getting close, and we look good enough. Yeah. Match of the day is rubbish. Doesn't analyse anything proper happens in the game, and leads to play platitudes to us. That's one of my gripes this week. Yeah. But it was good. Good day. Good crack. Barry brought 3 bags of sweets with him to the game, and we had three choice. Seeing Paul there tomorrow night, so we got lots of sweets, and we're going to have a good time, and we'll be more reserved this time if Leeds scored. We'll shake hands and nod.
Not kiss.
Yeah, I promised this time as well through the game, Gerry, that I won't do what I did last time, which was to sit and jig my leg, which I knew.
I'm doing that now.
Literally, by the 20th minute, his hand just gently came across, and he just put it onto my leg and just went, "Will you stop doing that, please?"
That was my excuse. He wasn't doing it at that stage. Yeah, we're getting very close. I saw a beautiful image in front of me the other day. I thought, this guy in a beautiful cream jacket, flowing hair, and it was Melia. Guy, he looks well. He's definitely getting ready to go to the south of France or somewhere.
Yeah.
I still cut past him on the left side of the stairs. I had to say it.
This is birthday today, so happy birthday, Mez.
Good man, Eileen. Good luck to you, kid. Good luck to you.
Yeah, go enjoy yourself. Go get some sun in your face. Yeah, we'll talk about the game because we'll get up on screen because we did do our little predictions before this run of 3 games, and we said there's a very strong possibility we go into these 3 games. We will talk about the incidents and Daniel Farke after we get the general talk about the game out of the way. Let's at least try and get through something productive. Sorry, my dog's going mental here because my wife just walked in. And we will get to that. But let's just talk about the performance first. Sorry, the league table first. We went into Chelsea, Villa, and Manchester City, and we said this table could accordion, and we could get a bit more closer to relegation zone. But we've got results coming out, so we weren't really bothered about it too much. We thought just get through these 3 games, hope that the other sides have tricky games as well. And my God, when you look at the results that have come out in these last 3 games, not just with us, but at the teams below us, we've come out probably 2 points better off than some sides, and with a better goal difference than West Ham United. And even though West Ham United had a bit of a purple patch, that seems to have turned again, the opposite direction. Forest are having an awful time, and Spurs appear to be completely in free fall. And the manager there, who apparently is one game away from being sacked again, they've entered full Javi Grazia mode right now at Spurs. And Leeds are still sitting there with those 3 games out of the way, having picked up 2 points, and with 2 home games against Sunderland and Brentford out of our next 3 games. And Crystal Palace, who, by the way, are only 4 points ahead of us away from home. Paul, not a bad position to be in, but that's something that it is caveated by all of these results don't matter unless we get something against Sunderland and Brentford at home.
Oh, no, 100%. But you've got to look at, I would even include Forest into that as well, in terms of that block of 4 games up to City, just in terms of how we played. Out of that block of games, we've managed to walk away with 5 points, which is better than what we said all between us, that 4 points would be about where we wanted to be for those games. That means that point per game average has worked out where we want it to be. We've gotten 5 points out of that. But I think more than that, what we've seen is a team that are willing to fight for each other, that are willing to put it on the line, that are willing to go for it, and a team that are playing for each other, a team that's playing for their manager at the same time as well. And, that's 2 very, very difficult away games. We know that that Chelsea are very, very hot and cold in terms of the way that they're playing, what they do. Yes, we had a little bit of luck with the chance by Palmer that missed, and had it not been for a fluky knee with Tammy Abraham, we would have walked away with all 3 points and been in an even more stunning position than what we're in now. So you've got to be absolutely happy with that, but the even harder work starts now. This is the next bit now. We've gotten through that patch. We've done the boys have done what we've asked of them, which is to maintain where we are. We've managed to keep that 15th, 6 points above West Ham, which is, for me, is the mark of where we need to be. We've chalked off more games. We're now down to 10 games left of the season, which, once they start to get more and more, we're effectively 6-7 points above West Ham because of the goal difference now. That 10-goal swing is absolutely huge for us as well, when you look at it on the face of it. And I know we're going to get into the Man City game, but I was really impressed with the way that the boys played against City. And how they went about it. Yeah, there were a couple of moments that might not have been as good as what they want to be, but we're playing against world-class players who can...
Billion-dollar squad.
Yeah, exactly. And I sent you that thing. Do you remember? I sent you the picture which says their squad and bench is worth over £500 million on the game when they played against us. Our squad and bench was £142 million.
They had the better part of 400 million on the bench on the transfer fees.
Yep. And but this is what my point is that we're matching them. We are, and I don't just mean City, but we're matching absolutely everybody. The only team where we've looked poor, realistically speaking, is against Arsenal. That's the only 2 games where we haven't looked at the races. Everybody else, we've been competitive. We've been... Well,
I'd say Brighton and Forest away were 2 low points.
Yeah, they were, but in terms of being completely outplayed, it's not it's not happened this season from what I can tell and the way that I feel about it. But we now move into the game against Sunderland. They've got players out. Don't forget, there's quite a few that are out on that. Yeah, I know that some of them are bench players. I get that. That's fine. But they've got some squad players that are out, and we've got players coming back at the right time. The only one realistically that's going to be out is probably Okafor, potentially, maybe Justin. But just the nucleus of the team that we have performs. It always performs, and this is a proper under the lights game on Tuesday night. And I think the disappointment and the injustice of the game against Manchester City, I think that's going to come out on Tuesday night. And I think it's going to be raucous on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I like that. Tuesday being tomorrow night as well. The last time the 3 of us were at a game at the same time, we beat Nottingham Forest. So, we've got that to look forward to as well. So fingers crossed against somebody else wearing red, we can do it again. But Gerry, it's a really good point from Paul. If Leeds can bottle up that maybe that sentiment or feeling of being a little bit hard done by against Manchester City, being about, being mistreated by the officials because we're quote unquote not a big team. We know we're a big team. But there's that sentiment there. And if they start the way they started against Manchester City at home, you would imagine Leeds should be able to go into that with a huge amount of fire in their belly and get something out of this game.
Yeah, that first half hour, you're dead right. We were matching them, and we had them on the back foot. I think Brendan ran himself into the ground. I think we said probably a couple. If we'd scored a couple of those goals, might have been ruled out. But what a ball into Calvert-Lewin, and the way the Calvert-Lewin twisted and turned and just sent it wide, and then Brendan got the other one that just went wide. And I've seen it all season where someone has the opposition has the ball and they're hunting in packs. And every one of those players, they're coming off the pitch. Stack was out in his feet. Brendan was done. You know, they all look as if they give out. Joe Roden was killed again. You know, he's got the Pontus Janssen spirit of at least getting killed once a game. But he's a warrior, you know, and he just does it. Carl Darlow, potentially man of the match. Two fantastic saves. Yeah, two fantastic saves, and Ampadu thinking that's not good enough, testing him with a backwards header, which he did against Forest. In fairness to Ethan, it wasn't his best game, and it was a bit eccentric, but he's got enough in the bank, so we're not going to dwell on that too much. He was up against one of the best midfielders in the world, if not the best. And throughout the team, you know, Bogle and Justin. Again, I had a Leicester City fan with me at the game, and he was just saying how he's delighted for Justin and just marveling how well he is playing. So you can't complain about that. But you look at the City team. There was times I was looking at that. That's a great bit of skill. That's fantastic, you know. Yeah. And as Paul says, other than Arsenal, we've stood up to these teams. We've matched them. Liverpool, you know, Chelsea, even Villa. All these teams, we've given them a game, and nobody thinks we're a pushover. And everybody, I mean, we mate says, well, what are you talking about relegation? You lot aren't in trouble. But we know we are on points and they're angst as well. We know we are. But yeah, we take this into tomorrow night's game. And I think Daniel Farke got a lot of kudos from walking on the pitch. Everybody, I mean, he didn't say much, did he? He jogged onto the pitch, as he says. But I think a lot of people loved the passion of it, you know, saying, what the hell? And, you know, that's what we want to see. We all come out angry, but not at the team or the manager. We just come out angry of the situation. And I think, as you say, that'll be bottled up tomorrow night. If we can express that, then no problem. We're under the lights. 7:30 kickoff. See you there. Are you there tomorrow, Ger?
I'm in the cup. Yeah,
I didn't realise that. There you go. So we're all there.
Yep.
So,
silly early morning flight. I leave here the flight leaves at 7 a.m. I get into, leaves at 6 a.m. I get into Leeds for 7 a.m. Can't check into my hotel till 2 p.m. and I'll be hanging around till 7:45 in the evening to watch the game. But yeah, the only flight I was going to get in before the game. I'll find somewhere. Yeah, I'll float around Leeds. I'll look at it.
What a place to be. What a place to be.
Let's talk about Daniel Farke, because I think he had reasons to be aggrieved, and Daniel Farke has been very well behaved over the last 3 seasons. He's got one of the teams with the best disciplinary record in the EFL last year and the year before, and in the Premier League this year. Can't remember the last time we got a red card. I think it was Joe Rodon. And that's 2 years ago, possibly. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Is that a whole?
And and he doesn't ever really talk about the officials in any negative kind of way. And the issue he had, of all of the issues, wasn't anywhere as severe as the other ones. We'll talk about them. Gruev's stamp, which for me is a stamp because the whistle is gone. Yeah. Then the player has a poke at the ball. There's a couple of seconds go by. And then there's a very unusual action to try and sprint away from a standing position. For me, he pushes the foot backwards into Gruev's shin, not looked at by VAR. Then there's the handball. And again, I've had lots of people say it wasn't a handball and you wouldn't want to see them given. I've heard other people say the opposite, saying it was a handball. And there's the argument about, well, he wasn't looking at it. And neither was Brendan Aronson wasn't looking to get the ball against Newcastle, and these things swing around about. But even that, it wasn't checked by VAR, and it should have been at least looked at. Neither was Gruev's stamp. None of them were looked at by VAR. They all went with the referee's opinion on the pitch, and it's supposed to be for clear and obvious error. And for me, in both of them, there was at least a question mark about it being wrong. It should have been looked at. Then there is Joe Rodon being dragged to the ground in the penalty area in the first half. 2 hands around them, pulled to the ground, no sign of the ball, nothing given. And then a tackle on James Justin that left him with stitches in his shin. But the free kick was given against James Justin, which again didn't make a huge amount of sense. And none of that was what Daniel Farke went to talk to the referee about when he got the red card. This is what Daniel Farke had to say today about this, and I'll give you the brief on it. Baron Cross has got the quotes from. He said, Farke speaking at length about the red card, deeply unhappy with Banks playing the fraction over 6 minutes added, says he was reassured by the fourth official more than once that City's time wasting would mean beyond 6 minutes. Farke said, all I wanted to ask is why he did not add the 30 seconds or 1 minute. I jogged over, not one bad word, no flailing arms, just jogging. Was asking why he didn't add on the time for Aït-Nouri's yellow card. His red card was out before I got there. Farke said he was angered by the way that Banks embarrassed him by prematurely carding him. He felt the red card showed Farke was not someone worth speaking to in that moment. And he said, I will never jog on the pitch. I will never jog again onto the pitch. Farke said, I respect Peter as an experienced referee, and I don't think it was on purpose. He misjudged and misinterpreted it. If we meet a few weeks from now and have a disagreement, then it should be a chance to shake hands and discuss it. Now, the interesting part was Leeds are appealing the red card, and he said doesn't want to talk about that. We'll have to wait. He said he's never entered the pitch in 20 years, and he jogged over. Nothing unusual about a manager jogging onto the pitch. And it should be said, Farke didn't swear, didn't use any bad language, went over to talk to the referee. So being sent off for dissent when Rodri was in his face for 90 minutes screaming at him every single opportunity that he got, along with Turkey.
Silver as well.
And no yellow card for them at all. So, Paul, he was dead right to be annoyed about this and be put out by it. You would imagine they'll get their red card overturned. Leeds have asked for the ref cam footage to be reviewed because it will show Farke didn't swear. What's your thoughts on it?
I think Peter Banks lost all control of the game throughout. I'm not going to sit here and say that he gave everything to City because he didn't. I think some of his decisions that he made were questionable at best, and at worst were shocking, absolutely shocking. I think the one in particular that really sticks with me more than anything, more than the handball, even though that could have given us a penalty to get back into the game, more than the handball, more than the Rodon thing, and more than the Justin thing, was the stamp on Gruev.
Yeah,
that was intentional. That wasn't just a kind of grazing or whatever. That was an intentional stamp. The action, everything, the movement was wrong, and the fact that the people in Stockley Park didn't turn around and go, "Just a second, Peter, we need you to have a little. I'm just checking something. We need you to have a little look at this." That's what worries me. So I also think as well, and I'm not defending the referee on this as well. I also think that VAR has made it incredibly difficult for some referees to make a decision in certain cases because it's that fear of being made to look a little bit silly or not quite right or something's, the kind of the over reliance on it. And VAR's only going to get worse next season. We
saw in the FA Cup, referees can't make a decision because they're waiting on someone in their ear, and then they forget there's no VAR in those games. And
Villa again, Villa again.
Yeah, exactly.
Who wants to see them reviewing corner kicks and second yellows now?
It's going to happen. It's absolutely. That's the thing that's coming into force. So it's whilst I have a certain modicum of sympathy for referees as a whole. I think we've seen some quite shocking referees' performances this season, particularly in games that we've been involved in, which then brings into the question, if you want to go full conspiracy tinfoil hat onto it, are the referees being told that they need to manufacture a title race between Manchester City and Arsenal? Which, believe me, I don't think that is the case. What I'm saying
it doesn't mean that there isn't bias towards top sides.
It doesn't.
I don't think they're manufacturing something.
Yeah, it doesn't help the situation. You've got fans walking away from the ground on Saturday evening going, Lewis, for example, LUFC Lewis put out a tweet saying, "I've never walked away from a ground in my life thinking that something isn't right. And tonight is the first time where I've walked away from a ground thinking something isn't right here." And just his all-round performance. I mean, even with the time wasting as a minimum should be, I think I'm right in saying this, is an additional 30 seconds you add on for time wasting.
30 seconds per sub and for time wasting, yes. So you had all the substitutions up and
So there was an incident with Donnarumma and there was an incident with, I can't remember who the other one was. There was 2 instances of time wasting. Was it Silva?
Still
agree.
went down, didn't they?
Yeah, and Nora,
I
yeah.
still went down. It was 3.
So there should have been, at the very, very least, an additional minute and 30 on top of the 6 minutes that were added on.
Yeah.
And also, as well, if a team is attacking at that moment in time, you do not blow up the whistle while the team is attacking. You must wait.
It's a given, isn't it? It's a given.
It's a
given.
given.
I thought that.
Until
I was
finished.
Somebody will correct us in the chat, and please do if we're wrong on this. Just let us know if we're wrong on this. But my understanding, and at least when I played, was the referee can't blow the whistle or shouldn't blow the whistle during an attack. Now that ball landed on Dominic Calvert-Lewin's toe, free in the penalty area, and he blew the whistle.
Yeah, and again, that's where you go. What's going on here? This is a little bit weird, and that's for me. It's. I mean, there's been the issues with Chris Kavanagh and his refereeing performances with us this season, and now Peter Banks at the same time as well. So I get that the referees have a difficult job to do. The problem is they have an over reliance on VAR to get them out of trouble.
It's not just even them, Gerry. I get your take on this as well, but it's not just them. Pete Banks refereed us against Nottingham Forest, I believe, as well. Someone left a comment today saying he wasn't great against Forest either. For us, he was giving a lot of stuff against us in that game. Wasn't as noticeable for me, but there was also the incident that went in our favour, albeit not that serious one, where I think it was Brendan Aronson swings his foot around the Manchester City player to clear the ball over by the touchline in the corner flag, kicks the man under the armpit, doesn't touch the ball, and the linesman, who's a yard away from it, is staring at it with his flag down going, and doesn't make a decision. And then eventually gives a throw into Leeds and going, and we saw the replay of it. We were thinking on the watch along going, yeah, Brandon Adams is a yard away and kicks him in the armpit, doesn't touch the ball, and the linesman doesn't have a clue what he's supposed to do in that situation.
Well, the other officials were just as bad. I mean, the linesmen, they were guessing. That we said halfway through, they were guessing on some throw-ins. Yep. Pep was standing on the edge on the field at some stage, and the fourth official would keep going up to him. Pep, come on, get in, and Pep's going, and he never moved. And there was, of course, Brendan in the lead up to their goal. Brendan was cleaned out as well. Yep. He was whipped from behind. It was nothing done. But I look at this and I felt the same coming out of the ground. I thought, bloody league's corrupt and that. But I think these referees they're sycophantic. I think to these, but they're in first name terms. As somebody said, he was calling Silva Bernardo, and it was they're our mates, and they're not your mates. They don't, but they think they're part of the scene. And then, they're just it felt the decisions were so bad, and not to choose VAR. As you said, it's clear and obvious. That stamp was clear and obvious, and they're watching that, and they would see. They must have replayed it a few times on Sky as well, so they must have seen it. And as I said in Match of the Day, they didn't even show it. They didn't even show that incident, and they showed the penalty, but they didn't analyse it. And you think, if that had been Chelsea Arsenal yesterday, we'd still be hearing about it. And probably there was incidents like that as well. And it is so frustrating to see that incompetence. And that's about all you can call it, Peter. He shouldn't referee this weekend. I mean, if you see Daniel Farke coming and running at you, even jogging, it is a scary sight. But if he's it was a fair point. He added 6 minutes, and he blew more or less on the 6 minutes, give or take a few seconds. And the time waste, and I know there's new rules coming in about time waste, and if you're slowly walking off, then and all that. That's pretty good.
How many more times are we going to have a conversation?
I know.
The ball has been in play this season less than any other Premier League season. 55% of the match the ball has been on the pitch for. That is incredible to think that. And we had time wasting rules brought in to start this season that have been forgotten about already. The rules are there. They are very clearly in the rule book to stop time wasting. Referees had a 6-second rule for
have you seen anybody
not to use it?
Donnarumma did that. Donnarumma did that at the weekend as well, and it was like people were there was sections of the crowd out loud counting.
It's gone away already. One of the rules also that was brought at the start of the season was players aren't allowed to talk to the referee. It's only the captain. That went away after a week. So these rules are there, but the referees, Gerry, to your point, the referees are choosing not to use them because they don't want to hurt the players' feelings or get involved in it.
It would be so easy if a player is crawling off the pitch slowly, book him. And if he's had a yellow card, already had a yellow card, then he's off.
I'm off.
And I think one of the rules suggested is if a player is slowly, if he doesn't get off in 10 seconds, the other player has to wait a minute to come on. But again, will they implement these
They won't
things?
enforce that. No, they won't.
Yeah, if you're looking for a classic blowing the whistle when the ball's in play, Clive Thomas, a referee who was one of the most arrogant referees in the 70s, 1978 World Cup, Brazil last minute, 1-1 against Sweden in the World Cup. Brazil take a corner and he blows the whistle, the ball's in mid-flight and Brazil score, and he just goes off the pitch. And if these referees, it's not about you, lads. I don't even want to know what your name is. I know Peter Banks now. I don't want to know what your name is. Job. Yes, there might be the odd mistake, but it was glaring and it was bad. And the way he gave that red card, he didn't even look him in the face. Total disrespect to a manager, Premier League manager. Held the card up. You can feck off, and that's what it felt like. And yeah. No, I wouldn't do it to Pep. I mean, he's been out. I've seen him go out and shake sarcastically, if he can sarcastically shake somebody's hand. Shook all hand. They're all out there. And fair enough. If he's not going to book for that, you don't book for that. And I hope he gets overturned. It will be hilarious if it does.
He should do.
Should do. And so. And I think his press conference was brilliant today. I think he stood his corner and he was respectful, but he's basically said, "Come on." Yeah. So, but all in all, we go in with that siege mentality from this, because I'm angry still talking about it.
Yeah.
As my City mate, when I say Man City now, I spell it MANC115TY.
Yeah.
As a Leeds fan said, you know what you are. And it's disgusting that these things allegedly get away with these things, and we would allegedly, my opinion, and we would
for legal purposes.
We would certainly terms and conditions. If you don't pay your loan back, if you are Man City, you don't have to know. Alleged, but it's not fair.
It's not fair. It really isn't, and we have to deal. Like, it's the 115 charges thing. Scott, thanks for keeping my channel alive and well, Paul. Not getting pulled off the air this week.
Could be wrong. There could be innocent.
No, to be guilty of something. You don't have that. You don't throw that much shit at the wall and not be guilty of something.
Mistakes.
Yeah, something's gonna stay. It might be something small, but there'll be something in there. But it is like it does feel unfair. But look, to flip it all back around, we can feel hard done by. But to your point, Gerry, let's bottle it. Siege mentality, and let's crack into these next 3 games and go and get the 9 points that we need, and let's just be safe and get on with it. And then next season we can strengthen again, and eventually we'll get into a position where we don't have to worry about these people. But we'll take a little detour away from the passion moment right now, because I'm feeling it. I know, lads, I'm wound up by this. It is not okay. I think Farke did a cracking job today and should get a lot of credit for how he's conducted himself, considering, because other managers in that situation would have just let fly today, and he's managed to make his point without celebrating it, and he deserves credit for that. We will take a little bit of a slight pause and give you a bit of other news. 2 things that happened before we get to Sunderland and the review, and look at the other teams that are down there with us before the midweek games. And Prague Morate stepped down off the Rangers board on Friday. Now, 49ers Enterprises are the secondary shareholders as part of the Rangers ownership. Andrew Kavanagh owns the club. They're not minority because they've got a lot of shares, but they're not Andrew Kavanagh. Kavanagh is the major shareholder of the group, but Prague Morate was the vice chairman sitting on the committee. And when they bought the club, or when they took over and this agreement was made, Prague Morate assured everybody that there was no potential problems with multi-club models. This wasn't a multi-club model, so we would be okay. But it's nice to see that some proactive work is being done before we ever get to a situation where it could affect us. UEFA weren't happy with this, and there was talks between UEFA and Prague Morate, the Leeds board and the Rangers board, over the last couple of weeks. And as a result, before the March 1st deadline, which was yesterday, around submitting your club ownership rules to make sure you're compliant with the multi-club ownership, Prague Morate and Gene Schneier both stepped down off of the board. So now there's no issues there. And they said that long term it will protect Leeds and Rangers should they ever end up in the same competition, which they can't do if they're both owned by and run by the same people. So trying to put a bit of a gap between them. I'm sure there's still some legal red tape in there, but at least there's steps being made. Paul, and he's off that board. Maybe he can focus his time on Leeds now.
Yeah, it's the right decision. I saw some wild comments online going, "Oh, what's this? Leeds United think that they're suddenly getting to Europe." It's no. We're making sensible business decisions
before we ever get to that stage.
Before we get to that stage. So should we get to that stage, There's no issues. There's no problems. And my only concern was with Parag being involved with it was how that affected the relationship between us and Rangers and what that kind of meant overall and where his focus was or where his focus was going to be. That's what my concern with it was. And the news and the announcement, I think it's the correct thing to do. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't think he's needed there anymore. He needs to come and focus on the Leeds stuff, because there are, there is a lot of stuff that's going on at Leeds, not least the stadium, where we need an active chairman in place constantly here who can make decisions, who can do certain bits and pieces, who can, rally the investors, all of that kind of stuff. But we need a chairman here 100% of the time, not 70% of the time. They need to be 100% focused on what we're doing.
Yeah. Gerry, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think we saw it in League of Ireland. Drogheda, their owners were, I think it was Leon or something, and Drogheda were kicked out of the Europa League. It was a shame. But I think Prague, yeah, he's seen the light. He's seen the light up there, hasn't he? He's just looked at that. This can't be working in this club. And I think the launch of our St. Patrick's Day range today, and Hatate, I'm wearing his "I love Hatate taking penalty" shirt. I think says it all about Prague. He's a Celt.
Changed sides. He's changed sides.
Yeah, it would. It could have been interesting if we both get into Europe and Rangers as the junior member couldn't get into Europe. That would have been funny. But it obviously is sensible, and we've seen that. But as you say, a relationship with Rangers, I don't like that word. I don't really want a relationship. I don't want a relationship. I just want Leeds. I don't
want Leeds to have any relationships with absolutely.
No, I don't want to be part of a group.
It's
Leeds. We're Leeds, and we've nothing in common with Rangers. We're nice people, and we're decent lads, and I think we should stay as we are. Yeah. Anyway, that was a great third penalty from
legal purposes. That is Gerry McNamee's opinion, and not the opinion of Ger Lynch or Paul.
Yeah, he's joking.
3 shots at a penalty, though. Jesus, great. Anyway, come on.
Yeah. Anyone that right now is getting offended or has a problem or thinks that we're being serious here needs
I'm sorry.
Step away from your headphones. Go get some air.
I'm of a certain age, and I'm old, and I say things that.
Fine.
Anyway,
speaking of penalties,
glad to have you back, Brad. Yeah,
Ramazani.
Yeah, Ramazani. Yes, his turnaround continues. Yeah. Scored again.
Corbean's been saying that he has been making the difference in the last few games, which is I'm pleased to see that personally. So
he's a decent player. At least if he doesn't come back, we get a decent fee for him. So I suppose you got to look at it that way. Yeah, and Gerry, I don't think he will.
Let's talk about another Leeds player that's been in the news today, and Julian Nagelsmann or not Nagels, whatever way somebody I'm pronouncing it as I know, whatever way he pronounces it.
Jules,
Jules, big Jules. Yeah, he's made some comments on Anton Stach's possibility of getting into the German national side, and he was asked about it, and he had some interesting things to say. I'll get the exact quote that he put out because it's a head scratcher. He said that he's doing well at Leeds, but he's not exceptionally strong in the air. Pause. Up against Goretzka, who's in the squad.
Yeah.
Anton Stach has won 62.6% of his aerial duels this year, and Goretzka's won 38% of his. He went on then to say he's not a top ball winner either, and he's someone who prefers to have the game in front of him. In my view, his best position at Hoffenheim was in the central role of a back three. Check that out. From what I can find, he didn't play in the back three for Hoffenheim, and if he did, he played he played not enough times for any of the tactical apps that are out there to actually say that he has got that as a secondary position. We'll get there eventually. And he says that he likes to drop into the 6 from centre half. I would have imagined that's pushing up into the 6 from a centre back position. But I went on then also to say that it'll be a difficult decision to make, but it'll probably upset the player and the fans. Now, Graham Smith and the YP did a bit of digging on this as well. And he said, if you look at Stach this season versus, say, Goretzka as an example, Stach has more defensive recoveries. He has contested and won more duels. He also makes more tackles per 90 minutes and wins more aerial duels. He also has created more chances this season. And when he was in the Bundesliga, he was number 1 in the Bundesliga for interceptions. He was number 3 for the amount of times that he won possession back, and number 4 for the amount of duels that he won. And when we signed him in the summer, Gerry, he was known for being one of the best defensive midfielders, data-wise, in the European League. I'm done today. I'm done. Yeah. So Julian Nagelsmann's talking out of his arse, isn't he?
Yeah, Germany's not winning the World Cup, are they? Has he got any caps, Stack? And if he hasn't, has he got any Irish grandparents? Because
we take him.
You take him. He's playing in the Premier League, which I suppose, you could say he's up against in the best league. Because you look at the Bundesliga, and some of not all the teams are strong. I think every game is tough. He had a bit of a dip at the start of the season. I think he probably wasn't fully fit, but I thought he'd be a shoe-in for Germany. It doesn't look like. I mean, even if he doesn't think, you give every player a best chance. If you think someone's got a chance, you boost his confidence. See, will he get to the point, and then you just choose your squad. But he obviously doesn't fancy him, and I think it's a shame because I think he's been pretty decent this year, and not a bad free kick taker for that, and set pieces generally. So he's got that in there as well, and he's one of these players that you have to sort of watch closely because you don't always see the work that he does do off the ball and the breaking up attacks and everything else. So tough Germany. You ain't winning the World Cup this year if you're not bringing your best players, and that's fine. But Anton McStack, could be. Yeah. There's a lot of stats in County Offaly, isn't there? There's a lot of stats
statistically as well. According to WhoScored.com, he is statistically the best summer signing this season.
Yeah,
in terms of overall score rating for this season, he sits on 7.15, and he is statistically the best summer signing this season.
Yeah. Well, we noticed him when he wasn't in the team.
Yeah.
That's when we really noticed him. Yeah. That's the sign of a real good player as well. He does have 2 caps for Germany. He played 3 times in the Olympics for Germany as well. And 521 caps. He's again statistically having the best season of his career at least this season, goal wise. So
and he's got the best Instagram as well, hasn't he?
He's got a great Instagram, yeah.
You got to have balls to do that, because if you're not playing well and you're posting stuff, can you imagine Weston McKennie putting stuff out there, cartoons and everything. World class Weston McKennie, by the way.
Yeah, he did that day in the life thing as well on the Leeds United YouTube channel, which I think really endeared him to a lot of the fans as well. Him and his partner. It was really lovely to see, just sort of that like their relationship that they've got, the little gaming room that they've got together, all of that kind of stuff, and it just really, really pleasing to see. He's a very, very unique character.
Yeah,
and I love him.
Yeah. He's a good lad. So, that's your loss, Germany. We don't care, do we? Whose group are they in? I don't even know. It's too big.
No, well, it means he won't get injured in the summer, so we'll have a nice rest.
Well, that's it.
It's not great for him. I'm sure he'd...
No, I know. I used to love to see our players get international caps. Now I dread it.
Yeah. Well, they get injured usually.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why I want us to have our wins in the next 3 games, because the Welsh lads will have a playoff. And,
only 3 weeks to the big one in Czechia. 3 weeks to the big one in Czechia. We'll be taking over Prague. There we go. Yeah. We're going into, if Ireland do qualify, we're going into the Netflix, the new Narco Netflix series in Mexico. Apparently it's all kicked off over there. Only us could end up in a Netflix series. But anyway,
based ourselves there.
Apparently it's real. Anyway, that's
the lads from Kin heading over to Narcos. We'll see how to get on. Let's get into the Sunderland game then, and let's have a chat about that. And the bottom's looking interesting. Now, this is the weekend's fixtures coming up. We're at home to Sunderland. Weekends, midweeks fixtures. West Ham are away to Fulham. Forest are away to Manchester City, and Palace and Spurs play each other. So someone's dropping points in that game, or both of them potentially dropping points if they get a draw against each other. So it's an interesting one for Leeds. Fulham in a decent form. West Ham trying to find that form. But when you look at the form guide, Gerry, of the sides below us, look at Tottenham and Forest. That's desperate viewing if you're one of their fans. And as I said at the start of this, Spurs feel like they're approaching Javi Gracia territory here, because their manager, Igor Tudor, has said it takes time to turn it around. He doesn't have time. And there's a lot of Tottenham insiders, if you want to call them that for lack of a better term, are saying he's got 1 game before he gets fired. So they're panicking.
It's mad. I think I look at those games and I think this is a real opportunity for us even to gain another point. I can see all the other teams dropping points. Well, I can see Palace beating Spurs, so they might get out of there. But this is a real chance. But yeah, at one stage on Saturday when Burnley went 4-3 up but didn't, and West Ham were at 4-2, I was thinking Leeds angst kicked in. I thought they're coming for us, but nothing's happening. And I seriously think this is a major turning, a significant set of games. I think Forest at City. I think City on one of those runs where they'll win 12 on the bounce. Fulham are just winning games. You know, they're just. I haven't seen the Spurs game, but they're decent at home. West Ham have had that run, and still they're looking. Think we're no better off. And Spurs, I think most people would say, not particularly hate Spurs, but for the big, the Super League from a few years ago, Spurs in the Super League, and I think it'd be great for the Premier League if a big fish like that dropped, and just saying, this is what can happen. It would be a real wake up call. But I seriously think we can get 3 points, and there's a big chance the others drop points, and this could be the significant week. But we just got to do our job. That's it. Yeah. We just got to do our job. And it's 9 games after that.
But then it's 9. Yeah, you're dead right. We're on the turn. We're on the corner into the final straight now. So we're getting ready for the sprint, Paul. And I mean, that is significant. I mean, we've talked about this for years about Everton playing around with relegation for a bit and avoiding it. And ultimately the bigger sides or the more historical sides stay in the Premier League. But you're looking at 4 sides there between 3 sides between Spurs, Forest and West Ham. One of them's gone. Now, Forest's run hasn't been good. It hasn't particularly worked on the Pereira just yet. But Spurs, of all of them, from watching the games, West Ham for me were actually pretty decent against Liverpool, despite getting absolutely hammered. It could have been 6 against them. They missed an open goal as well, tapping. But even at that, at least West Ham looked like they had something going forward and they were a threat. And Somerville is playing fantastic for them. Spurs, I watched yesterday, were dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And Fulham didn't have to do much. You know, it was a small spell after Spurs scored where maybe they rattled Fulham a little bit, but then they calmed down and got back into it again. So it is a significant weekend. From our perspective, Sunderland have got one of the worst away records in the division. One win all season away from home. We've got a very good record under the lights. Time to fix that again and start with a 1 after 25 went away, get back to a 1. And this is significant for us because a win here puts on 34 points. And depending on how those games go, we could be looking at a 9-point gap. Or if nothing else, we could be opening a gap between ourselves and Nottingham Forest and just starting to move ourselves away from that little mini scrap for that final place as well. So the next 3 are significant, but this could be a very interesting Tuesday, Wednesday night.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. You just want to listen. I'm at that stage now where yes, I like to see performances. I'm now at the stage where I just want the results. That's what I want. You put the performance in, and that's a bonus as well. But I have no doubt that the team will put in a performance. I've got every confidence that that's something that will happen. I mentioned with regards to Sunderland, the players that they've got out. They've got Mukiele's out, Robbie's out, Tybee's out, Mundle's out, Cherkin's out. I think I pronounced that right. And Mandava's out as well.
And Abdullahi is a doubt, and Reinildo is out.
Exactly. So they've got a lot of players out. So what that says to me, that might not be first team wise, but in terms of the ability to change a game or ability to be able to impact a game, they're going to be struggling slightly. Whereas what we've had that's been really, really good, as referenced against Man City, we were able to bring players on that really affected the game. When we went old school 4-4-2, it really affected the game. Nonto played well, James played well. That was really, really pleasing to see. And listen, no game's going to be easy. No, we've got to earn it every single game. And I just think we're probably going to be playing Sunderland at the right time. I just feel like we'll be playing them at the right time overall. So it is going to be significant. I said to you at the weekend that I think Spurs are in deep trouble because the problem is regardless of who's in there as the manager, it's changing the mentality of those players. And my worry is that this is the second, and it's not a worry actually, my concern would be, is that this is the second season that Spurs have been in this position in terms of being low in the league. Do they have the mental fortitude to be able to get out of it and put something into it to allow them to move forwards? Forest, they're on their 4th manager so far this season. And it's like, well, you can't you can't keep doing that because it's every time players are going to have to change. And listen, you've got to give credit to Morgan Gibbs-White. He's putting in shifts, trying to bring everybody in and do the best that he can do to drag them forwards, but it's just not working. And for West Ham, we've talked about it. It's got to be soul destroying that they went through a bit of a purple patch, and they're no better off than what they were when it started.
And the financial situation, Paul.
We talked about that 100 and something odd million. If they go down, it goes to 300 and some odd million.
300 million, yeah.
Yeah, payday loans to pay 12 million pounds in wages. And Karen Brady has the goal to sit on The Apprentice, thinking that she knows everything about business, but that's a whole other conversation.
She's got all her cosmetic surgery to pay for as well, hasn't she?
Well, very true.
Allegedly.
For legal reasons. We're going to have to start every podcast now is going to have to start with one of those. Everything that you hear at the start of this show is opinions and not fact. This is for legal reasons. Make of it what you will.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Satire is a thing.
Satire, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing satire. Here all week.
You were saying until we get cancelled. Whichever comes first.
Yeah.
It is. Look, they're and again, Gerry, we said it. Leeds seem to be the adult in the room and the calmer of places compared. I can't speak tonight. The calmer club compared to all the sides that are down there.
We've said this before. The fans. I mean, a lot of these clubs, the fans hate some of the players. They hate the board. They hate the manager. And we're there as a group, and we're loving them. Yeah, we're everybody's behind everybody else at Leeds. And we were joking about Europe, but you have to be cautious with Europe because you look, Forest and West Ham. Well, West Ham and Spurs have won European trophies in the last 2 or 3 years, and Forest are in Europe. Be careful what you wish for sometimes. And even Palace, it's a struggle when you stretches your squad on Thursday, Sunday. But if we win the FA Cup, or when we win the FA Cup, we're just going to have to put up with that and get a bit and buy Gibbs-White and Archie Gray's coming back, isn't he as well? I'm looking at these teams, think we can have a lot of good players. We're a big club now, but yeah, we are the adult in the room, and nobody's really thinking that we're relegated. I think someone on Talk Sports said we were the team most likely to go down with
Clinton Morrison.
Was it? Oh, not Clinton. Yeah. Was it? I'm sad it was Clinton. I like Clinton. Oh, yeah, we had that discussion.
He reckons Spurs, Forest, and West Ham will be fine. And if he was Leeds, I'd keep an eye on Leeds. Yeah. Mad comment.
Clinton. God love you, Clinton. You're lovely, but yeah, God love you. Yeah, but anyway, no. So we are there. I'm looking up. I'm thinking Newcastle. Wouldn't it be fun to finish above Newcastle? We probably won't. Sunderland, I think, they're off here, but I think is it 6 points ahead of us? 7 maybe 6, 7.
6 points off.
Yeah. So, this is a chance to draw them in. They've been brilliant. They've had a great season. They've done enough. I think Tyler Adams tried to take Xhaka out the other day. I think he was lucky to stay on the pitch. Xhaka is such a vital player for them, and they crumbled a bit when he didn't play.
He's back.
It's a shame he's back. But, as Paul says,
Ethan will finish the job.
This is the best time to play Sunderland. They're comfortable. They're not doing well away. And it's not a bad fixture to have. Hopefully,
listen, don't count out Gruev to put one in on him either, because he's got it in him to do it as well. Speaking of smashing plays, Forshaw, did you see his tackle at the weekend?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did see that.
Great tackle.
What a tackle that was!
I love it. That gets you going.
I actually quite liked Calvin Phillips one for Sheffield United as well. I didn't think it was a red card at all because he won the ball, and then just his natural movement followed through. His fault the player was in the way.
We're still haunting the championship. Ex-Leeds players. Great to see, isn't it? Yeah, and a ton of ex-players. I might have said this. I think it was off air. We said that I was watching Dundalk St Patrick's Athletic the other night, and Ryan Edmondson playing up front for St Patrick's.
Yeah,
Athletic.
you mentioned that to me. Yeah,
yeah.
To me on WhatsApp. Yeah,
crazy. And, giving up Australia for Inchicore in Dublin. Are you mad?
Yeah.
No, there's anything wrong with Inchicore. Just before someone from Inchicore, as not having a pop in Inchicore, but
best league in the world, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
But we were beat 4. He didn't score one, but we beat 4-0. But that's another story. But
yeah. Well, then I think we'll wrap it up. Then, Gerry, give me a score prediction for tomorrow night.
I think we can win this one. I always go 2-0. That's what the dog goes for. 2-0. Sweets from Barry and a cuddle from Paul, but just a manly cuddle.
All right. Okay.
No eye contact.
Okay.
No eye contact.
No.
Paul, give us a
I'll look
prediction.
him in the eyes when I cuddle him. I'll make it awful. Don't you worry about that.
Oh,
Paul,
you're not Peter Banks, are you? You look me in the eyes.
True. I will look
don't
you in the face.
Peter
Yeah, I won't
Banks.
look away.
Yeah.
I'm with Gerry on this one. I think a 2-0. I think a 2-0.
Yeah. I'm glad Brian Broby's out, and I'm glad that they're missing 2 fullbacks in Serkin and Ronaldo. I would like to see. I like Ilya Grove. I understand why he's on the side. I would like to see Daniel Farke maybe go a little bit more attacking in this game, and maybe drop Stack in there, take Gruev out, and maybe play another attacker. I'd like to see him go for this with more attacking players. Although, again, if we start the way we started against Man City, he doesn't matter.
Could we see the lesser spotted Boanorte?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't see
him on the
bench.
bench. You might see Longstaff.
maybe.
I don't know. You may see Longstaff. There might be a couple of niggles and changes from the other day, but do not be surprised.
Newcastle, Newcastle lad against Sunderland, he might want to smash that a bit as well.
But don't be surprised he starts the same team. I wouldn't be surprised. No. But be all straight in, nearly scored. Longstaff chomping at the bit, even Tanaka. Will he look good when he come on? Dan James is back, and we've got the players to rotate a bit, and let's just win it. Let's just win it and wait to see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, listen, massive thanks to everyone who's watched or listened to the podcast tonight. Don't forget there are affiliate links down below. You can support us via them. We have the St. Patrick's range with Fanatics, as well as just a discount on Leeds shirts there as well. And if you want to go over to okjersey.com for 8% off using our code on any of their shirts or tracksuits that they've got there. There's a World Cup summer coming up. They've got lots of World Cup shirts there as well. You can check all that out if you want to. But the best way to support the channel is subscribe, follow, and give us a thumbs up. Massively appreciate, folks. Have a great rest of your day. You can see find Gerry on Twitter at JerryMac123 and Paul over on YouTube at The Leeds Therapy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. No news in the morning, but we will have a review out after the game. I might try and get something out if I can get something done in Leeds tomorrow, depending on how the logistics work on that. But enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.
All right, boys.